Hey, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me. So, the first thing I want to share, please dream big. Anything is possible. And I'm going to explain that in a little bit. Next, I mentioned a post over the weekend on different platforms to journal it. That's the lesson for the weekend. Every trade you make, options, stocks, journal it. Why? You need to be accountable to yourself. If your account's been going down from like 1,000 to 800 to 600 to 400, you need to be able to review these trades and figure out, what did I do wrong? Because if you don't, history is going to repeat itself. So please journal it. Next, strategy. I'm going to talk about my strategy pre-market and what we're expecting from the SPY, because if you didn't see, futures were bright green yesterday, Sunday night. Then they turned red, and then they turned green again, and people are confused. And I think this week in the market is going to be extremely, extremely tricky. But I'm going to explain what's going on in the market. We had some stuff going on in China. We have global yield curves changing. So let's get into it. Yield curves. The 2-year yield curve, right, was 460 last week, 446 this morning. The 10-year, which was pressing 427, is 416. So those have come down. The US dollar went up a little. So that's why the markets are a little confused this morning, because usually they move in the same direction. Okay. Now we'll talk about what I'm trying to say when I'm saying dream big. Okay. I have the micro account. I had $14. It's currently up just under $59 at $58.96. I make one trade per day. I look for best entry. It could be 2 p.m., 2:30. I'm looking for one trade. Right? It's a cash account. I'm looking to make $20, $30. That would be amazing today. Take it from 60 to 90. All right. Increase it by 50%. That's what you do with small accounts. Patience. If you have a small account, you can't trade first thing in the morning. You just can't do it. Next, the $100 account. It's up to $1,500. I'm holding some positions. I use Moomoo for that. Now, if you don't know, there's a link below to Moomoo. I hate Webull right now. I hate them. They're blocking all my posts. I try and help people. They block it. Why? Because I mentioned YouTube that I want to share more information. So again, Moomoo, when I signed up, you just open an account. It's free money. You get one free stock. Put $100 in, you get 4 or actually 5 free stocks. You put 2,000 in, you get 15 free stocks. So that's a no-brainer right there. So back to, I tell my kids to dream big, that anything is possible. And that's what I'm trying to share with you guys by growing these small accounts. There's something I want to do with the small account. I actually want to live off it next year, but I'll talk about that at a later date. Let's get into the strategy today and talk about the SPY and what potentially can go on with the market. Okay, so global yield curves have come down, meaning when you hear people talk about that the Fed might not tighten as much, we're doing 75 basis points, which is November 2nd. That's a guarantee. But then you have December. So people are like, well, when will the Fed stop or even reverse course? Late next year sounds logical. So all over the world, there are different Feds for different countries, and they're talking about a slower rate growth or perhaps bringing down the rate, which we haven't heard of yet. So when the rates come down, that's good for the market. Now, the catch-22, when they're bringing down the rates globally, which is what we've seen a little over the weekend, is they're bringing down the rates because likely they're headed into recession. And I'll point out Germany. Germany's PMI, their manufacturing index numbers came out. Anything under 50, okay, it's very easy. Over 50 is positive. As it grows, it gets higher. Anything under 50 on PMI, and we have PMI, you can Google it. You Google US PMI last month, something like that. So the manufacturing numbers came out at 44. So 50, under 50 means you're going into recession or you're headed that way. Germany's came in at 44. So we have that going on in Germany. We have all that nonsense going on in the UK, where we had a new prime minister, then she quit, then the old prime minister was going to come back, then he just removed himself, I think, yesterday or this morning. And then you have what's going on in China. President Yi got a new 5-year term. He appointed all his cabinet members, which are close supporters of him. Okay, he wants more equalization as far as their monetary policy goes. So what does that mean? It's putting more pressure, right? Because capitalism, stock market, you invest in stocks to make money. If he's going to limit the gains from certain Chinese companies, then that should put downward pressure on Chinese stocks, which is what we're seeing. So is it possible for us to have a green day in the market when the Chinese market was off 6%. And I'm going to tell you why it is possible, okay? There are a few factors. First, the way we ended last week was extremely bullish, okay? Then overnight futures, when they opened up, excluding what the world news was happening, we were plus 300 on the Dow, plus 200 on the NASDAQ. We then went red for both. We then went green, okay? But again, yields are coming down. So although you and I might think things are crappy out there and the market should go down, okay? Because that's what I think the market should go down, and that things are crappy in the world and the world outlook is headed to recession. However, I'm always early. So there's no doubt in my mind that we're going to continuation over last week's bullish run. So we could talk about my strategy is I'm going to continue to buy dips until I'm proven wrong. Now that's worked for me for a number of days. So I'm going to stick to it. I stick to what works until it's broken. When it doesn't work and I realize, okay, and remember, don't over leverage yourself. With these accounts, I'm buying one option, two options. Remember, we have tons of earnings out this week. You've got Apple, Google, Amazon. That's what's going to control our market this week. So if you factor in the world news and you say, okay, the market should get ugly, but let's say earnings are decent or earnings are good and forecasting is okay, right? Amazon, Apple, Google, they could all literally go up probably 8%. So if I'm in any tech-related stocks and I'm in a couple positions with my small account, I'm in Palantir. I won't pronounce it Plantier because somebody got upset at me because, yes, I called it the peanut company. And then I'm in Affirm, some options there as well. Again, that's more of a fintech play. Now, here's the catch. I mentioned last week, American Express got hit hard, Visa, MasterCard as well. You got to be careful with these companies because, again, I'm not sure when it's going to happen, but the consumer, the retailer, the retail trader, more people are living off their credit cards these days. More people are going to be delinquent on their credit card these days. So what is going to happen? American Express, Visa, MasterCard, they're all going to get hurt. There's going to be delinquencies unless your friends aren't. But my friends are losing their jobs. My friends have quit their jobs. My friends are living off their credit cards. That's where this whole challenge came in. All right, so I see we might have some questions. Let's talk. Yeah, Palantir is a crappy stock, but I follow it like family. So I know that if this week is green and someone said Palantir is a crappy stock, come on, Matt. I don't care. It could be. I invest in crappy companies and stocks. I follow charts. So I'm telling you, Palantir can go up to $18.61, and that would be my exit point. If that happens today, and again, if tech is green and the market is zoning out everything else and just focused on earnings, and earnings are decent, and the market goes up another 4% this week, and we see the SPY sitting at, let's see, 4% on the SPY. We closed at 374, so that would be about 12 points. I don't know, 388, because that is a point of resistance. So let's get right into the SPY before I talk about stocks. But the point is, when you know a stock like family, you know where it has support, resistance, et cetera, et cetera. So I think Palantir can go to 861. Is it a shit company that probably has no earnings? Sure. Look at DraftKings. That thing was like 11. Now it's what, 14? No earnings. They have such competition. It's illegal in many states. But yeah, I mean, people are buying it. Again, Kathy's stocks in a good market, Kathy Wood from ARK. Okay, if you look at her holdings, and I compared them, I made a tweet maybe last week comparing Warren Buffett's holdings to Kathy's holdings. If you looked at Kathy's holdings, Warren was in Apple was 17%. The oil company, OXY, was like 7%. He was in McDonald's. She was in Coinbase, DraftKings, Roblox, TDoc, Upstart, all these more speculative companies, which is why my other position is in Affirm. It falls right into her category. So again, QQQ, TQQQ, tech goes up. These companies are going to go up, including Palantir. So let's talk about the SPY as the SPY sits pre-market. Okay, it's sitting a little under where I thought it would be pre-market because the next rejection point, and I'm going to bring it up, is a dark pool level. So it's a specific number. It is, 3, Let me pull it up because it's 0.6%. It's 376.63. So we're 40 cents under, right? Write it down. It's very important. It's a dark pool level, which means plus or minus 20 cents. That's either going to be support or resistance. So 376.63. And you can say to me, okay, pre-market, we were up to 378. Yes, we could use 376.63 as support and go higher. So let's give a bull case scenario first, and then I'll talk about the bear case scenario, okay? Me, I haven't decided yet because I'm going to look when the SPY rejects, I'll go like, okay, I could be bearish going forward. When I see support, I can say, okay, we found the bottom. I'm going bullish going forward. All right, so again, 366.63 and we're 376.63 and we're sitting at 376.22 pre-market. So 376.63. I could bring up the chart, but I think it's more important that I talk to you and read the numbers so that I wrote down. All right, so 367. The next way up, if we go up, 376. Sorry, 376. The next way, if we go up, is going to be 378. Okay, write it down. 378 on the SPY. If we break that, we're going 381 on the SPY. All right. And you could use these numbers all week. These are resistance and support. If we break 381, 385, and then there's a major level at 389. If you go over 389, 393. But again, if we were to have a bullish week, and again, nothing goes straight up, so you're going up, down, up, down, up, down. If we made it to 389, I might turn my position. I might be like, okay, we're a little too frothy. We went from 374 to 389. We went up another 5% this week. I might change my stripes towards the end of the week or change my strategy. Okay. But again, let's just go over it. So we're sitting pre-market 376.60. So again, we're 3 cents from where I say the teetering point is. So we could actually dip as soon as the market opens and then shoot right past that support level. So understand the next level to break would be 378, okay, 381, 385, all the way to 389, 393, okay, 89, again, I might start being a bear at that level. On the way down, let's say the market opens and it hits the 376 level and it rejects and it goes down, okay? Your next level is right underneath at 375. There's been support even pre-market at 375 on the SPY. So if you think the market is going to get red and ugly, you want to watch the SPY. If it breaks 375, and I don't mean breaks by like 10 cents, like, oh, 374.98, it broke it, it's going down. No, you want to see a confirmation. 1 minute chart will help you understand the market direction. The 3 minute chart gives you more of a confirmation, and the 5 minute chart tells you you're going to be correct or you're not going to be correct. But let's say the market goes down, okay? All that bad news from China, the Chinese market was off 6%. Yield curves, who cares? The US dollar is going up. Let's say we're being bears right here. We're like, okay, 375. And again, when it breaks a level, it should act as resistance. So when it breaks 375, you'd say, okay, go to 375. Boom, I'm buying puts again because it's going to go down. That's part of a strategy. Use resistance and support levels. Again, this is the bear case scenario. I already gave you the bull case scenario. And before the video ends, I will check out pre-market activity, and I'll tell you which direction I'm heading. I already know which direction I'm kind of heading because, again, I know things are messed up in the world, but I'm always early. So things will turn around later in the week. We closed out the market on Thursday and Friday extremely, extremely bullish. How do I know that? Because I chart the SPY. I make the SPY family. Now, this is from 1 and 2 weeks ago, but again, I've already got it up in front of me, and Discord gets that, and I'll show you my charts this morning if you stick with me after the video. All right, let's answer some questions here. Hello, AMD, NVIDIA. Okay, great question. Where do I see AMD, NVIDIA? All right, so you have to play those with the market. Again, if you're going to be a bull, all right, and you think this SPY can go up later this week to 388, and we're sitting at 376 right now, so you're talking about an extra 3 to 4% higher. NVIDIA is going to move, and so will AMD, and they're chip companies that have been extremely, extremely beat up. And there are institutions, and Kathy's taking a huge position in NVIDIA. So if I had to pick one, I would say NVIDIA. Why also? I always go best in class. If you want to tag on to what the institutions are doing and the banks and the hedge funds and the big money, they always look for best in class. which is why you all hear the term FANG, right? It was like Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix. I know it's changed in Google, but right, you want to look at the best in class, which would be NVIDIA. Ken, what are you thinking? Ken's thinking it's call city all week. So yeah, I mean, the way we ended last week, and again, there's a lot of other crap happening in the world. If you remove the UK, which you can't do, because understand, if the UK and Eastern Europe, and we have the war in Ukraine and a terrible terrorist attacks going on there, and then you have some famine and some grain shortage, and then you have what's going on in China, that President Yi is another 5 years, and we already have conflict with them, and they already want to take over Taiwan. If you ignore all that stuff, our markets are going to react off earnings. So yeah, I actually think earnings could be good. I mean, these massive companies, Apple knew that they had this earnings call coming up 9 months ago. They knew all what their issues were 6 months ago because they were talking about it. So Apple, you have very smart tech companies that are worth $1 trillion, $2 trillion coming out with earnings. Google, I think they probably found a way to tweak it. Now, who couldn't tweak it? Possibly Meta, because Metaverse is not taking off. People aren't playing or living in the metaverse. So maybe that's a problem. Now, Google's making some very smart deals. Amazon's making some very smart deals. So yeah, if I had to pick two, I'd be like Google and Amazon. If I was going to invest like a 401k, I would say like, I want to be best in class. All right, let's go to the next question. The issue is that, let's see, let's show this one. Let's see what we got here. All right. The issue is that perhaps the most important week since the big dogs are reporting earnings. Yeah, so anything can happen. Again, let's talk about the earnings. Microsoft, I would think they would have decent earnings. Apple, decent earnings. Google, I'm not worried. Meta, I would be worried about because we just followed Snapchat, and Snapchat mentioned advertising dollars. So that's where Meta comes from. Amazon's selling everybody's products and their brother's products. Okay, so then Gianni mentions Microsoft, Google tomorrow, okay? So here's what's on the schedule this week. Let's not talk about earnings for 1 second, okay? Tomorrow morning, you have the consumer confidence level. Extremely important. It tells you, does the consumer think we're going into recession? Does the consumer think that inflation? I mean, all these factors are coming in. Then Wednesday, probably a bad number. New home sales. Now, we all know that the real estate market is going. Mortgage rates are at a 32-year high, and demand is definitely coming down. Yes, rents are still extremely high, which is why inflation's high. But we're just talking about new home sales on Wednesday. What's going to happen? Probably under what they're expecting. So that'll be bad. Okay, Thursday, GDP is going to be recorded for our third quarter. Now, if you want to follow this, you could follow on Twitter. It's like the Atlanta Fed talks about GDP, or the Atlanta something or other. I don't have it on my phone right now. But they've been revising GDP. So as the number goes along, you could see. Now, good for the market would be GDP going up. GDP going up means we have more gross domestic product. We're producing more. Recession, we don't hear recession. We're producing more and it's selling. If that happens and we're selling more, then earnings go up, right? So GDP is related to the market. Earnings would go up, GDP goes up. Now, what happens if GDP comes in revised and they go, okay, then people start saying, okay, recession, housing's going down from Wednesday, GDP going down on Thursday. So my strategy for the week, have you guessed it yet? I'm going to be bullish Monday. I'll probably hold my bullish positions Tuesday, and then I might sell based on earnings. But then we have Wednesday's numbers coming out, new homes. I think that's going down. So if there is, let's say Monday, Tuesday green, followed by last Thursday and Friday green, right? 4 straight green days. We could take a break around Wednesday, Thursday, and maybe flip it end of week on Friday. So that would be my strategy without even thinking about any news or data that came out. I'm looking at the 2-year, the 10-year, the US dollar. I know curves around the world have lessons saying that other countries are going to maybe bring rates down, which would be good for the markets. Now, again, rates are coming down because they're likely headed into recession. So you'd have to look at UK, you'd have to look at the DAX in Germany, you could look at France. Hopefully something will happen between Russia and Ukraine. I mean, because what's going on in the bombardment with drones, and I don't want to make this political, is just ridiculous. I mean, they're just It upsets me profusely, and it sucks that it has an impact on the market because we're trying to make investments and we have to tie in world news, and we have to tie in oil, and we have to tie in demand, and we have to tie in China and whether China's going to go after Taiwan. So again, let's go into the SPY real quick just to give you guys one more strategy session. So the SPY, guess where it's sitting pre-market? 376.60. What did I say the teetering point was because of the dark pool? 376.63. So it's plus or minus 20 cents. So this is a huge level of support or resistance. And right now the SPY is up 0.6. So what could I see happening at open? I could see the markets dropping at open to flat, to like just green or flat completely, and then flipping back really quickly to exactly where we are right now. In fact, breaking through and going to the next side up. The next side up being 378 or even 381. So at that point, say we're at 381 on the SPY, say the time was around 10:50 in the morning or something to that extent, I might sell and take profits, or 10:30. I might sell and take profits and say to myself, I'm going to wait on the dip. When the dip happens, say we're at 381 and we go back to 375, boom, time to re-enter the same positions. Okay, so don't ride the elevator. Get entry. When it spikes and you think you're at a max point because you expect the markets to reject, take profit. You're talking about small accounts. I don't know, $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, $200. It doesn't matter. You have to learn to take profit. And you'll say, okay, but maybe I miss out. Maybe you don't miss out. Maybe the stocks go down this afternoon and you were smart to take profit rather than riding the elevator, because it's the worst thing in the world to say, I made a great trade, but I held too long. Now, if you see positive things in the market and you're in calls and you say, okay, the market found support here, then I'm going to hold because things are getting better each day and there's inflow, and it's likely Tuesday will be better than Monday. So that's just a thought process. I appreciate everybody joining me today. Let's just see if we have any more questions here. Neo, yeah, dead money. I wouldn't be in Neo at all. Whatever Kathy is long, you're short. I'd be careful about that. What kind of questions is that? Mullen. Okay. I don't dabble in Mullen. I dabble in penny stocks every now and again. And yes, if there's a huge short interest, and I think there was in Mullen, and I think Mullen was under 20 cents. I think it's over 40 cents now. I don't jump in. Once something gained 100%, you're either in at 20 cents, 19 cents. Right now, I'm in a stock. I'm not going to give it out, but it's on the two different platforms, Webull and Moomoo. I'm in a penny stock, and it's on my Discord. But I bought in at like 58 cents. It went down to like 52 cents. I was off 11, 12%. I turned green this morning. All right. It's more of a long term. I'm waiting for a 50% bounce in this one. If it bounces 50%, I'm going to be exiting. I'm not going to be talking about wanting to get into a stock. So it's the same thing when they pump stocks like RMed or something like that. Oh, and last but least comment, very important comment. Somebody on Twitter who I respect said something like, hey, we're not here to predict the market. We're not here to guess. We're not here to strategy is everything about predicting the market. You have a strategy, whether you're looking at Tesla or this, that. These people like to say, it's on my watch list, calls above this level, puts below this level. But yes, what gets you to either level is having a strategy. So you have to have a strategy saying, okay, Tesla is reducing their price for cars in China. Tesla just did this. I don't know Tesla that well, but that would all make up your strategy. And from there, you say, I believe this is going to happen. If the market goes down, Tesla will visit 185. If the market goes up, I would look for the top to sell because I don't, whatever your strategy is, you can do that. Oh, Ken likes Square and Amazon. I also like Square. I was looking at that this morning and I was like, Square, a lot of people play Square, Affirm, Hood. Not related, but they play them together in the same kind of, just like Roblox. Can I talk about Microsoft's effect on the market? If housing is bad, Microsoft has never missed, but did have mediocre guidance. Well, yeah, Microsoft, they didn't come out with earnings yet. So let's just see where Microsoft is right now and when they're coming out with earnings. Because you have to pay attention to Microsoft. And when it comes to Microsoft, you have to pay attention to the ad dollars, right? You have to pay attention to YouTube. So Microsoft's up 1% pre-market. They were up 2.5% on Friday. Resistance on Microsoft, I remember, could be 260. So we're sitting at 245 right now. I'm telling you, the beginning of the week could be green. So yeah, Microsoft looks like a good play, but I would never hop in Microsoft right now or up 1%. I would say to myself, wait till the market gets beat up at some point today. Whenever the lowest point of the market is, where you're seeing the SPY reject, I would wait, and then I would grab Microsoft calls at the bottom. I would go out a few weeks. So yeah, Tuesday night, that's why you were asking as far as Microsoft. Yeah, I mean, anybody can guess or make a prediction. Earnings for Microsoft, Apple, and Google are going to suck. Or you could take the reverse course that maybe everything is baked into earnings already. The supply chain issues, the demand issues, the slowing down at certain factories. And you could say these companies have the smartest people in the world, and they were planning accordingly, and they're going to surprise to the upside. Because remember, people or the estimates for these companies are single digit growth. So if Apple comes out and they announce like 12% growth when people are expecting like 6 to 8%, the stock would shoot up like 4 or 5% just off that news alone. Same with Google. When Google announces that YouTube viewership and watching is down, the number of hours is down, and that was because of the war in Ukraine and stuff going on in Eastern Europe and the rest of Europe. What happens if all of a sudden over the summer, over Q3 when school started again, if viewership is up? I know my kids are watching more YouTube, unfortunately, but if they announce and they surprise its upside and they announce marketing dollars up, that'll take them, that'll take Microsoft, it'll take everybody that's kind of interrelated. You have the Snap Meta people, and then you'll have the Google, Amazon people. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah, definitely pay attention to all earnings this week. 20% of S&P companies are reporting this week. A lot of tech-heavy companies this week, next week, and a few other days. That's what I'm focused on. Appreciate everybody joining me. I'll see everybody tomorrow morning. The Moomoo link's below. I'll be doing most of my posting there because Webull censors me, and I've got a message for them. That's what I think of Webull. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you guys on Discord.